Hey, my Lipton. So I wanted to come here and do another video. Before I start, please mind the cold and the cough, y'all. Like, legit, it got exponentially worse today. So, please mind it. I'm really sick, but I definitely wanted to come here and do the Killers of the Flower Moon review. So I went to go watch this 2 days ago. And I said I was gonna do a review. Um, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. This is my first time going to a movie theater to watch a Martin Scorsese movie. My very first time. Like usually when Martin Scorsese film, it's because I didn't grow up with him. So I mean, he was out way longer than I was born. So like I watched Gangs of New York, which is also a Martin Scorsese film, like randomly through like the internet. Watched that. Watched Wolf of Wall Street. Obviously, those personally for me, I think Gangs of New York is one of Martin Scorsese's best work, and I'm so sad that like it's not. I mean, it's to me it's underrated. I feel like Gangs of New York is extremely underrated. But this is my first time going to see him in theaters, and now I will say this: did Martin Scorsese's rants about cinema dying and all these different things motivate me to go watch this film? Absolutely. Okay, it definitely did. I think there's a lot of truth to what Martin Scorsese says having to do with like cinema, movies, how it's being overran by theme park films, franchise films, comic book films. And don't get me wrong, I am a fan of a good amount of the comic book films, but I can also recognize how much it's having a monopoly within the movie theaters. And I think that we do need a variety of movies and storylines like Killers of the Flower Moon. I will also say this, and like I said, when it comes to movies, people want to go to movies to watch blockbusters, to watch, Taylor Swift's Eras tour. Which, by the way, that one of the theaters was right next to me. So while I was watching this film, so I could legit hear a lot of some. Not it wasn't too loud. It was very light. I could hear some of the music from the other theater next to my theater. It was so weird. Yeah, but no, people go to the movies to go watch that, or go watch a comic book film, go watch like Transformers or that sort of thing. I feel like for the past couple of years, I would say this: when I went to go watch this in theaters 2 days ago, y'all, the movie theaters for Killers of the Flower Moon was packed. And it shocked me. I'm not even going to lie to y'all. It shocked me on how full the theater was. Like from front to back, people were in there to watch this movie. Excuse me. And that just shows the testament of like, listen, these sort of films can still be made. Like, and this is why I think that it's so important to, especially not obviously having to do with the historical content of this context of this film, but to go watch films that are, you know, something other than comic book films or like franchise films or like Fast and Furious or Transformers. Like people took time out of their day to go watch this film, and like front to back, like it was packed. And I know that Martin Scorsese, listen, if he were to and I also saw that the movie's doing well in the box office, which is great. I think it's second to Taylor Swift's Eras movie. So it's definitely doing its numbers. It's definitely getting its cash. I'm happy that people came to watch this movie, obviously due to the fact of like, just supporting movies in general, and like, supporting quote unquote real cinema, as Martin Scorsese will phrase that, and to also support it because of the historical context. Now, let me be very clear. I did not know about this story going into this film. It's based on a true story. I had no clue, and that's the thing about our history books and everything like that. They don't teach us a lot of this stuff. A lot of like the dark American history. It's like, y'all, I actually believe, and at this point it might actually be true. We only learned a fraction of the horrors within our history. Like, I know we like to talk a lot about slavery but it's like, do we even know the extent and how horrific slavery was? Because it's like I'm still finding out things about slavery that was never taught to me, and I'm like, bro, what the hell? The same thing with the indigenous people, the Native Americans. Excuse me. The same thing with the indigenous Native American people. It's like honestly, I feel like when growing up, the most I've heard about the Native American community, the indigenous people, is that they got wiped out. And I think the thing is too, we talk a lot about Christopher Columbus, even though Christopher Columbus never came to North America, he went to the South, but it's still like that and how he wiped them out, and like the Trail of Tears. But I feel like even with the Trail of Tears, I feel like it still doesn't go into context about how horrible and like inhumane it was. And this film really, really, after watching this film, I was kind of like, yo, there's probably so many other stories like this. And it's like, it gets buried, or it's not in the textbooks, because a lot of times, unfortunately, a lot of these supremacists, yeah, I know what I'm talking about, these white supremacists don't want us knowing about the real true history of things, because they feel like it's gonna cause a disruption. We're gonna be looking at them like, even though it's stupid, because it's like, girl, yeah, I should have no issues with it. If it's what it is what it is. Like, there's no going back and trying to refix and do whatever. But that's why, look what's going on around the country. People are banning books. They're trying to stop, you know, children or whatever from reading about history. And the thing is that it's not even like it's freaking made up. It's like, this is real life. Like, this happened in real life. So I don't understand why we can't learn about real things. You know, it's crazy. um so this movie, like I said, had no clue about it. um Getting into the film, okay, I was kind of like okay, we're starting off the film real, like, starting off with Leo and everything like that. Oh, obviously starting off with the Native American chants and the songs that go with it, and the hums, and the part where the oil is just like busting through the ground into the air. And I'm honestly, y'all, let me tell y'all this. Once I saw like the like when the oil was going up and down, and then it just bursted up, and then the Native Americans were like dancing around it. I was in my mind, I was like, yeah, it's about to be over for them. I was like, it's about to be over for them, because the way the United States, especially these white people, they be like, once they see oil, it's like they go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Look how the way we invaded Iraq and all these other Middle Eastern places due to their oil, and then they mask it as something to talk about human rights. Girl, once I saw that, I was like, yeah, it is over. They're about to get their shit rocked. So yeah, going fast forward, let me just talk about the characters. Well, let me talk about the actors and actresses. Um, like I said, everybody did a great job. Everybody did a great job. Leonardo DiCaprio, obviously A-list actor, great. Um, Lily Gladstone, amazing. She acted her behind off. I think that she and I'm don't get me wrong, I haven't watched a lot of her work, but I think that she's really, really gonna get some good name recognition from this. Robert De Niro is another one, legend. He did his thing. Now, I know from the trailers, people, and by the way, this is a spoiler review. Spoiler review as well. I'm going to be talking about a lot of spoilers. um, based off the trailers, people are going to think that, like, Leo was sort of like the good white man in this situation. Just based off the trailers. Because from the trailers, I'm like, okay, this is probably like a white guy that that's probably on the good side of it. Nah, fam. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Leo's character, his name is Ernest. He just horrible, horrible. Him, Robert De Niro's character, I forgot his name, Kingsley or something. Horrible. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's horrendous. Honestly, the white supremacy within this film, the white supremacy within this film was insane. I was just like, yo, in my mind too, I was kind of like, why are the Native Americans like? I mean, but listen, everybody has to learn their lesson. But like, I mean, it's. I mean, everybody has to learn. But it's like the whole intermarriage thing, like that they were doing with the Native Americans, with the Osage tribe and the white people, and then they were like working side by side, and I was just like, y'all, this was the 1920s. Racism was at its hot. Like, I mean, racism is still here, but it's like we're fresh off of slavery, Reconstruction. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, Jim Crow's being introduced, prejudice, discrimination, all these different things, systematic things being put in place. It's like, and on top of that, y'all went through a whole genocide with these white folks. Like, why are y'all intermarrying with these white people in the 1920s? Like, y'all did not think y'all were gonna get y'all shit rocked. Like, that was crazy. That was crazy. And like, it wasn't even like, one or two. It was like, no, a good amount of, a lot of the Native American women, they're marrying these white men, and it's just like these white men will murder their wives and to get a lot of the inheritance money, like they will murder a good amount of their wives and things like that to inherit a lot of the Osage tribe inheritance money. And I'm just like, I'm looking at these tribal chiefs and these leaders within the thing, because one of them was like, oh, our people are getting killed, and these white men are coming in. And I'm like, sir, you're marrying your daughters off to these white men. And it's like, also, and mind you, while he was saying all this, all these white men are, when he was like, oh, at the end of the day, these white people, wolves and does it. And mind you, while Robert De Niro's character was sitting right in the meeting, and Leonardo DiCaprio. And I'm like, so y'all saying all this when these two are in front of y'all? It's just like, from that moment on, I was like, oh my God, connect the dots, connect the dots, connect the dots. Leo's character was just, he was a horrible human being. I don't give a damn what kind of redemption arc they were trying to give him. Maybe that was probably what happened in real life, but like him being sad and crying over, no. Like, he was poisoning his wife, Molly. He was poisoning her due to his uncle's instructions, killing her slowly, like helped kill a bunch of her family members, or aided and abetted the situation, hired freaking a hitman to go kill her ex-husband. I don't even know if it's ex-husband or still, because they're saying that Molly got married to Henry when they were 15, but then, it was whole thing. These white people, and then just like the racism was so blatant, y'all. Like, what, I don't know if it's the grandparents or something, but there was these two old white people there was a scene, maybe you guys can go watch it. It was a scene in the house, and like these two white people, they were talking about Molly's kids, talking about how one is like light skin, like light, and one is dark skin, has more melanin, and they were like oh, it's almost like an eclipse, like, how dark this one is, and it can just be, it's almost as, and I'm just like, I'm looking at this thing like, yeah, I'm like, Molly, you married into some bullshit, okay? You married into some bullshit. And then on top of that, who's played by Leonardo DiCaprio, Ernest's brother kills Molly's sister. And from then, in a way too, from then on, I was like, Molly, connect the dots. Like, did you really think your sister, like, of course they framed it as someone murdered her, but I'm like, girl, your sister was just arguing with Ernest's brother. By next thing you know, he picks her up to go take her home. That should have been a sign. Molly was very dependent on Ernest, unfortunately, which as a wife should be. She was dependent on Ernest to help her with the case, thinking that he was going to help her out, find out who killed her family members. Only for Ernest's bitch ass to go over there and freaking kill the private investigator. Shut down, basically, like, legit, systematically eliminating anybody trying to solve this case. So it came to a point where once, her mom, her sisters, and then oh my God, the bombing of what's her name, Annie and Bill Smith. Is it Annie or is it, no, it's not Anna. Rita. I think it's Rita. I have to go back and watch it again. But Rita, who was also Molly's sister, and Bill Smith. Like, Leonardo DiCaprio's character in this movie was just like the worst human being. Robert De Niro's character, the worst human being. They like horrendous. It was to the point where Molly, Lily Gladstone's character, had to go to Washington, and y'all, that shit pissed me off. And I'm not gonna lie to you, when I found out that because I had to do, they mentioned it in the movie, but like they're saying that she went to Washington, and at the time the person that was the head of the FBI was J. Edgar Hoover. At that point, I was like, oh yeah, this shit ain't getting solved. In my mind, I was like, this shit ain't getting solved. Y'all, J. Edgar Hoover is one of the most racist people within the government. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, go do your research on J. Edgar Hoover, what he did to freaking Martin Luther King, what he did to Malcolm X, all of the Black Panthers. Go research that and go see what he did. J. Edgar Hoover was one of the worst people. So when I found out that, when they showed the part with her going to the trying to go to Washington to find out, to get the feds involved with this, and they kind of like brushed it over like, oh, okay, girl, you did it. And then they revealed in the movie that she had to pay $20,000 to have the FBI come and investigate the thing. And I was like, ain't this some bullshit? This is some bullshit. So just fast forward, and mind fast forwarding, the feds finally come. They're investigating things. They're trying to connect the dots. They end up connecting it to Ernest, the uncle. Here's my thing though. I that really pissed me off. What about the freaking doctors as well? Like the doctors that was supplying Molly with this crazy ass medication, and some of them talking about insulin. And in a way too, I'm not even gonna hold you. When I was watching this thing, like, because Molly also has diabetes in the film, so it was really, her health was deteriorating, and then on top of that, the poison, excuse me, the poison and everything. I was thinking to myself, bro, when the if anybody anti-vax watches this shit, they're gonna be like, yeah, you see, they did it back in the 1970s, they're doing it to us now. I don't know why I thought that, but no, like the doctors were also in on like a lot of the bullshit. Like she honestly, Molly, who is Lily Gladstone's character, she honestly married a racist. And like it is, but like she married a man. Like he might not be blatant. He was very passive. He was killing off her family members. He was killing her off slowly for money and all these extra shit. He knew that his family members were racist. He knows what they were doing. So Molly married a racist. Leonardo DiCaprio's character was a racist. And at this point, it was just like, how do you even... I don't even know how to go forward with this. So, moving forward, I'm not even going to lie to y'all. I actually thought that Molly was going to die by the end of this film, because it was like the way that he just kept poisoning her, keep injecting her. And I was just like, oh my God, somebody come save my sis. And then finally, when they arrest freaking Ernest's bitch ass, and I was like, oh my God, thank God, get my girl some help. They'll and in a way, too, I'm not gonna lie to you, like when Ernest was giving her the medications, and she saw that, and she was getting worse and worse. I feel like that was the point where she should have connected. Excuse me. That's the part where I felt like she should have connected the dots. That she's getting worse and worse, but then again, she was also out of her mind. She was getting weak. So I was so happy that they arrested Ernest and got her some real help. And during the the trial, there was a point in time where Molly confronted Ernest and was like, what was in the medication? Like basically saying, like, were you poisoning me? And then, of course, him being a coward and a scoundrel, he was like, no, I was giving you your insulin for your diabetes. And I was just like, you're full of shit. At the end of the day, I don't care what nobody says. He married her because the uncle instructed him to so that he can inherit her wealth when she dies or when her family members die. Ernest is a racist. Fuck him. Fuck the uncle, Robert De Niro's character. Like this movie, and I'll say this too. The movie is 3 hours and 27 minutes long, I believe. But I will say that it is worth every minute of it. It's worth every minute of watching it because I think that it shows a lot of like the inhumaneness that was happening to the Native Americans. Like it was really bad. Like it's still bad to this day. But it was really really bad. And the fact that like now I don't even think I need to read up on the Osage tribe and how they're doing right now. Because I don't know too much about them. But the white people, they came once there's oil, like oil equals money. So when they came in there, they were marrying their women, marrying the Osage women, and marrying the Native American women, and then killing them off and stripping away their inheritance. Like it was horrible. It was horrible. But it's unfortunate, this whole thing. Like the whole thing is just like how horrendous our us as human beings can be. And the thing is, it's still happening to this day. Like us as people, like look what's going on around the world. Look what's going on in our own country. It's like there's a lot of inhumane shit. And it's like we need to be wary. And I'm so mad that this wasn't taught in the history books. Like I'm so mad that we weren't taught about the Osage tribe, that we weren't taught about certain tribes, certain Native American tribes and their history and things like that. I think it's messed up. But then again, they do it to Black history too. They only tell a small fraction of it. They don't tell everything because they don't want people to know. They don't want people to know about that. And, for them to feel empowered enough to want their rights and to want equity and reparations and that sort of thing. So it's crazy. It's messed up, but it was a great movie for it being what it was. But my only criticism in this film would be that there were just certain parts where I felt like there should have been English subtitles. I mean, there were some parts where they put it at, but then there was other parts where they didn't put the English subtitles because there were times where they were speaking, the Osage language. Molly and Ernest, especially that one scene where he was getting angry about Molly not wanting to take her medication. That whole scene, I'm like, bro, y'all could have put English subtitles for that part. Like, we need to understand them. But that'll be my only thing. But yeah, this was a great movie. I do see it getting some Oscars, but I don't think Leonardo DiCaprio is gonna get an Oscar for this. Even though he did a good job, I think that they're gonna give the Oscar to what's his name, Christopher Civilian or something from Oppenheimer, because people stay praising him. So I actually think he's gonna get the Oscar, not Leo. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, please tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. Also, y'all, please mind the coughing because your girl is sick. But I wanted to come here and give you guys a review. But please like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe. Let's get up to 700 subscribers. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.